Neal, who does all the work on this product on behalf of the council. The co-chairs of the Growth Council, Senator Andre Cushing and Steve Van Vogt. Several members of the council are with us. Luann Ballesteros, Greg Dougal, Mark St. Germain, and a couple of the legislative members of the council. Senator Dill is also here with us, so we appreciate that, Senator. You'll also be hearing from the executive branch, represented by Doug Ray from the Department of Economic and Community Development, and we're honored to be joined by the President of the Maine Senate, Mike Thibodeau, and the Speaker of the House, Sarah Gideon. Really, this is the day where we present the product to them, and then it makes its way across the state to be used to guide leaders and policymakers in making sound decisions about moving Maine's economy forward. We focus on the long term. We try not to be overly prescriptive. We know there are many viewpoints and many different approaches to crafting the solutions that will affect each of the metrics that are in the measures of growth. But we need to have objective data and a clear vision and a long-term direction to guide our work. The current appropriation that we receive from the Maine legislature every year for the measures of growth is just enough, barely enough really, to produce the report. We're really excited that tomorrow there'll be a public hearing in the Labor, Commerce, Research, and Economic Development Committee for a proposal to revive a mandate that has long been had at the Growth Council to try to craft a long-range economic improvement plan for the state that will leverage the great work of the annual report. We're excited by that conversation, regardless of what happens with that bill, because we have to really go beyond measuring where we are to really having a coherent set of strategies to move us in the right direction in the long run. So some quick thank yous as we get going. First, a thank you to Ryan Neal for the hundreds of hours of work on this product supporting the council. A thank you to the council members themselves who are volunteers, and certainly in particular the co-chairs Steve Van Vogt and Andre Cushing and all the council members. And then we are assisted in this work by a host of experts from state agencies, from the private sector, who give us input on how to select metrics, who give us input on how to interpret the key trends. And without input from a lot of those outside experts, we wouldn't have a product as great as the measures of growth. So without further ado, it's my great privilege to turn it over to the co-chairs, starting with Senator Cushing. Senator?
Thank you, Yellow. I appreciate the work that you do and the energy you have brought to your position at MDF. I also want to echo our thanks to Ryan, who is really the yeoman when it comes to the work on this. To give you some perspective, the council was established in 1993 by legislative action, and it is publicly funded to provide a non-biased view of the issues. Members are jointly appointed by both the chief executive, the president of the Senate, and the Speaker of the House. The council really works with a diverse group of business owners and community leaders. The effort is designed to bring together a consensus on many of the issues that face us, the direction and the theme, the various components that we've been able to track over the last 21 years have been pretty diverse, but there are certain themes that have continued throughout that process. And I think as we look at this year's report, and we look at what's going on in Maine's economy, it is even more important that we focus on a high-quality lifestyle for all Mainers. Maine has a long history of our workforce being both creative and diligent in what they do, and we're facing some times where looking to our past is going to be important, but more significantly, I think, is what we draw from these factors that we can focus on in future policy. This becomes a very valuable guide. If policymakers look at the overall benchmarks, look at the trends that we've been able to track for them, they can really develop a more comprehensive plan in our policy making here in Maine. And as we move forward, I think that's going to be a critical key. We benchmark Maine by comparing both U.S., New England, and F-score averages in many of our report data. The overall themes of importance of human capital, strategic investments, foundational issues, and costs for individuals and businesses, as well as focusing on many of the natural beauties and values that we have here. I'd like to turn this over now to my co-chairman, who I've had the pleasure of working with the last couple of years, Mr. Steve Van Vogt, who will talk to you a little more about this year's measures of growth.
Thank you, Andre. You're welcome.
One of the things I'd like to say is that this is an unusual group that works on this report. Not everybody can get appointed to a commission by the governor, Speaker of the House, and the President of the Senate. And it's an asset for the people of Maine. But the most important thing about the report, I think, is the fact that it's been around since 1993 and it's consistent. And I'm going to just give you the cliff notes on what's important. When you get the report, take a look at page 6, page 5, that begin with the fundamental performance indicators. Those indicators include the gross domestic product for the state, per capita personal income for the state, value added per worker, employment, and poverty. So that you as a policymaker, you as a business, you as a legislator, if you can do anything to move one of those indicators in the right direction, you're doing great service to the state of Maine. They're measured over a long period of time, and they are the most valuable way of figuring out where we are in the world. After those fundamental indicators, there's a number of inputs. And you go through those, and you'll see that they are the levers that allow us to move those indicators. Now, when you study this report over years, you'll see those indicators don't move very much. But every now and then, they move, and it's important to understand why they move and who made them move, because that's what advances the state. It's also just as important to understand what happens when they go the wrong direction and why they did that. So I urge you to spend a little bit of time thumbing through the report, understand the fundamental indicators, and understand what makes them move. There are some highlights in this year's report, as there are every year. You'll see gold stars, you'll see flags, you'll see indications of change. The council measures consistently, year in, year out, these inputs to our economy. We do it in a quiet way, we do it all year long, and it's one of the greatest bargains the state of Maine gets because it gives you a measuring stick to figure out where we are. So once again, I'm pleased to present the report to the state. It's the hard work of the people in front of you, and I think they should get a round of applause.
All right. Well, thank you. On behalf of the Department of Economic and Community Development and the LePage administration, we congratulate the Maine Economic Growth Council and appreciate the mix of public and private sector collaboration that went into putting this report together. We're particularly proud looking at the gold stars of the work of the Maine International Trade Center in helping Maine businesses access new markets and helping attract new foreign investment. MITSE's success has helped earn a gold star in the international exports category. To help attract and retain skilled workers, which is another measure here, the department and the administration is partnering with Live and Work in Maine to help leverage the success we've enjoyed in our tourism industry and take advantage of the marketing efforts to try and infiltrate some of those same markets to get and promote Maine as an employment destination. The governor has also put forth a $50 million commercialization bond, a strategic and necessary follow-up to the R&D bond that is going out to voters this June. This will certainly help get more capital into the pipeline for commercialization of Maine products and services, and also to get repurposing of existing infrastructure and to get that back. As we look forward to delivering a policy and making good policy in the future, it's good to have certainly the data to define the roadmap that we need to take, and we look forward to the council playing an even more active role, as Yellow mentioned, in developing a long-term strategy for our state and our economy going forward. So congratulations. This certainly gives us all food for thought as we make policy. Thank you.
I'm really not sure what the pecking order is here today. And good afternoon. And First thing I want to say is congratulations to all the folks that really worked incredibly hard on this report, and we appreciate the Maine Development Foundation's efforts to bring this report to us. You know, no company in the private sector is successful without a plan and without an honest assessment of where they are. That's true with the state as well. We need to be honest with ourselves as to where we are, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, so that we can address some strengths and weaknesses. That's why this report is so important. We have an opportunity here today to look at the report and be honest with ourselves. We've got work to do, but we got some stuff to be proud of as well. So I appreciate MDF's willingness to bring this report to us year after year, to highlight some of the great things that are going on here in our state, including average incomes going up, including the fact that if you want to live in a state that has a great quality of life, Maine is the state you want to live in. So we know we've got some challenges, but we're excited about our future. We know that if we pay attention and really work hard on the details that spur economic development in our state, if we pay attention to what we're told in this report and apply good public policy surrounding it, that our future is even brighter. So I appreciate MDF bringing the report. I encourage all legislators to read the report, understand it, and let's make sure that the policy that we pass in this building reflects what we're learning through this report. And I think the speaker is next, which is what everybody's been waiting for. Speaker Gideon.
Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Gideon. I'm the Speaker of the Maine House. I want to first thank the Maine Economic Growth Council and Maine Development Foundation for your dedication and hard work in putting this together. For 23 years, we have relied on you, and I think now more than ever, we rely on you for help in our economic development and our policy making. As policymakers, there is no question, we all recognize that we have an enormous task in front of us. Just like the Maine Economic Growth Council, our vision for Maine is one where there is a high quality of life and a prosperous future for all Maine people, no matter where they live, no matter who they are or what their age is. Here in the legislature, we have ways of trying to achieve this. We do it by listening to our constituents. We do it by reviewing policy proposals, by working with stakeholders, and hosting public hearings. But too often, it is, quite honestly, tempting to govern by anecdote. And instead, what you offer us and what we need to take advantage of are these policy prescriptives that actually come from facts and from data that can help us. Expert opinions and facts like the ones that you've released in this report today. By focusing our efforts and paying attention to connections between the major issues that affect our economy and the well-being of Maine people, we can achieve prosperity that will benefit everyone. So there's good news. This report shows Maine is a leader in many areas. Our international exports are strong. Our natural resources, and we think we all recognize this, including our air and water quality, are exceptional. That's great news. But there are also some clear areas in which we need to improve and do better. The first one that comes to mind, and thank you, Doug, for mentioning it, research and development. We are right now spending only 1% of our state's gross domestic product on research and development. That makes us 37th in the country. And if we really look at a way that we can project long-term economic growth, having a clear funnel and pipeline for research and development to fuel our economy is absolutely essential. Another indicator that you've noted and that we note and are working on here in the legislature is broadband connectivity and making sure that high-speed internet and broadband connectivity are available everywhere in this state. We simply cannot have economic development continue without it. It is as basic an infrastructure as our roads and bridges are in today's world. Maine right now ranks 49th out of 50th of the American states for quality broadband services. So there's a lot of work for us to do. It's going to take all of us working together, what you all have done here, federal government, state government, local government, and most importantly, cooperation. I know we can do it. We're at a crossroads right now. I think we all recognize this. The choices we make today determine our future tomorrow, but you have given us the tools with which we can make that future as my colleague, the Senate President, said, brighter. Thank you so much.
Andre and I are still trying to figure out who's on first. Are you supposed to be up here?
I don't know.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Madam Speaker. Thank you. I'm sure each one of us is happy to take questions individually, but if there are collective questions that either the chairs of the Growth Council or Ryan, as really the data geek, can answer, we're happy to take those now before we adjourn. All right. Well, again, it's a great privilege for MDF to staff the council. We thank the co-chairs and the members for the trust they place in us, and we thank the legislature and the executive branch for using our work and giving us the opportunity through Policy Leaders Academy and other forums to help make this a guiding document that's useful to you. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it a lot. That's it. Thank you. We'll follow script.
Yes.